Hi guys, and welcome to a new video. I know it's been a little while, but I'm here back with you with a nice exclusive. I'm here to take an in-depth look to Sony's previous flagship of last year, the XZ2 Premium. I want to give you a first tour of the device and show you what it's capable of and what you should expect as well, and how it compares to new Xperias and other phones on the market, and maybe even some older models for reference. All of that and more right after this break. So the XZ2 Premium is obviously the most premium offering Sony offered last year. And the reason why I actually still like it and why I bought this phone is not only because it's come down in price, which we'll discuss a little bit later, but also because it still embodies the features that makes a Sony phone a Sony phone. As you'll see in some of the comparisons, those features have been erased more and more lately. If we take a look at the phone itself, they say it's rather large, and it is, but not as large as you might think. It's got a 5.8 inch 4K LCD HDR10 display, flanked by two front-facing speakers, front camera of course, and on the sides we've got the volume rocker up here, the on and off button, and the camera button, which is still here. On the bottom we've got USB Type-C, and on the right, where deprived of anything, it's totally clean. If you check out the shape of the device, it's pretty interesting. It's got this kind of pillowy shaped design that we've seen from the other XZ2 line, and it kind of reminds me of the iPhone 3G back in the day, and it makes for a very ergonomic feel and grip of the device, which is nice because the device is a little bit on the heavier side, probably one of the heaviest flagship to come out in the last few years. Now if we go to the back, it's also very nice presentation. It's got this kind of chrome finish, and the color that I have here is the chrome black one. I actually wanted to get the silver one, but after seeing this back on a couple of other videos, I decided to go for this one because it just seems more seamless and it makes the device look a little bit slimmer and lighter overall. On the back we've got a dual camera setup with 12 megapixels and 19 megapixels, one monochrome sensor and one full color sensor. Here so as well we have a color sensor, depth of field sensor, and a fingerprint reader, which I must say, as with other reviews on the XZ2 line, it's a little bit on the low side. You kind of get used to it. I have the phone for about 2 days now, and I'm still struggling a little bit, but the fingerprint sensor does work very fast. I'd rather have it on the side, but that's just how it is. And like I said, a lot of people are saying in the reviews that this phone is quite large. I think it's just about the same size as an iPhone 7 Plus, the Plus models. On the top, by the way, we also have the memory card tray and the SIM tray. It is a hybrid one, so you can either have a dual SIM setup or a SIM and an SD card as well. So if I just bring in one of the older devices, this is the originator, the one that started it all, the C5 Premium, and I've hold them side by side. There's not that much difference in the size of these devices. I really thought it would be a lot bigger than the C5 Premium, but it's all right. It's not that much bigger, if at all. It's not really noticeably bigger. It's a little bit longer, maybe slightly wider, a little bit thicker at the middle, but slimmer on the edges. So that makes it for a pretty interesting setup again. And like I said, I think it feels great in the hand. Let's fire up the display. And we've got a very nice display, 4K HDR, which is incredible. It just looks very sharp. very elegant. Let me just, and as you can see, plenty bright, so let's just pull that down a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Still pretty bright, but good enough, I guess, for you guys to take a look at. As you can see, viewing angles are awesome on the device. Everything just looks very nice and sharp. The phone is powered by the Snapdragon 845 chipset and backed with actually 6 GB of RAM. So multitasking and starting up of everything, the device is just buttery smooth and very, very fast. And I'm impressed by that. Sony phones usually have a tendency to be pretty fast because their skin is actually in the balance with some extra added features while being very light on the processor. And that just makes for a fantastic experience with everything just firing up really, really fast. It's just nice to see that and very refreshing as well. Speaking about the software, it's got its own little tweaks. The first one being that it's got an extra, let's say, active display. So if you pick up the phone, it's just going to fire up the active display with your clock that you set up with the team in this case, and your notifications. What I do miss is the double tap to wake. As you can see, that's just not here anymore, and there's no way to interact with the phone without picking it up. A little bit like how other Androids used to be before they had the double tap to wake, and how the iPhones used to be, and that's kind of a bummer because I really liked to interact. You do have double tap to wake once you're on the screen, once you're on the active info display, and now you can actually, by double tapping, get to your lock screen and see all of your different notifications. And of course, putting your hand here unlocks the phone. And I really still need to get the grips with it a little bit, but I keep finding the spot better and better over time. You also see that it's pretty prone to smudges, which is probably why I'm still gonna get a case for it, even though I think it really spoils the whole phone because the phone just looks very nice. We get a lot of compliments, but you won't really be able to see it that much because of a case. Now the phone is supporting Android 9.0 Pie, so Android P, which is really nice. It's always nice to see that Sony is very up to date with their models. This model actually launched with Android 8.0, and it actually came out of the box when I booted it up with Android Pie pre-installed, so that's pretty nice. So if we actually look into the menu, we can see it's been updated to Android 9.0 with the latest security patches, which is really nice. I think it's got a security patch of June 1st, and that's just really nice that Sony still keeps doing that. So as you can see, the themes that I've displayed in previous Xperia devices are still present here, which is really nice. I mean, if you just want to have something else, you can do it just like that. And that's just a very, very nice, unique experience to Xperia. And that's something that I really like about these devices and really makes them unique for me. These kind of cool customizations that you can do with a flick of a switch, you know, instantly everything changes. So now with the new active display, you can actually see the clock on here, which looks spectacular. And then double tapping it, you get the full clock with the matching background. So that's really nice. And just as a little cameo, I've got the Xperia 10 here as well, which I recently reviewed for you guys. Still some content coming up on this guy, by the way. Still working on it. And it just also looks pretty nice, but you can see things like themes and other customizations aren't here anymore. If I could just lower down the brightness a little bit. All these phones are so bright these days, really. So here you can see settings on the starting screen widgets and the background, and that is about it, guys. Themes have gone from Xperia XZ3 upwards, and actually the XZ2 line is the last line of Xperia devices that still supports this feature, and also that you can still get these themes on working. And what's really nice, they've actually combined the two, so you see those very nice lock screen ring animations, which really also blend in with the color of the theme. So they actually have picked it up somewhat, and also the feature that I showed you with the standby screen or active info display. I don't really know how Sony calls it in this iteration, because the screen is not always on, but it's got the same principle as an always on display. You just pick up your phone and immediately you know you're notified of some information. Actually, what I can test is also an email to myself, and then you can also actually see the active info display interacting with me. So let's just do that. So as you can see, I have now got the mail on the normal lock screen, as well as on the active display lock screen, which is a pretty cool new feature. And it just shows that Sony now has different kind of takes on what they want for Android under Xperias. So really briefly, like I said, I've got the Xperia 10 here. That's the latest generation Xperia, so expect this layout to be exactly the same on the newly released Xperia 1, which has a 4K OLED display. It really does outdoes this one. Although I do like the 16:9 aspect ratio, and it's just a lot more compatible with a lot more applications. So as you can see here, I've got a specialized theme with all these different kind of iconic styles, which is really cool. That's something I really like having on my Sony Xperia device. And you see here, unfortunately, that has been cancelled out. And you also see a different way of entering the menu. It's now scrolling vertically instead of scrolling with horizontal panes, which I tend to like. And it's much more akin to what you get on a stock Android experience. So what I also like here, and what I think is a very nice feature, is sorting of apps. So I can actually do by alphabet. I can actually do by date installed, and I can do my own specified way that I want to see these applications. Also complete with subfolders and everything that you want to have on there. And the nice thing is, with the Xperia 10 you still have that, although you can only sort by name and on the own order that you set when setting up these apps. I just don't like that vertical scrolling. What's also different is on the home screen, when I swipe down, I can immediately check for any application that I want to check out or contact. And here it brings down the drop menu just like with stock Android. So those are differences that are noticeable to me, at least, in the daily operations of the device. And it's certainly something that I do appreciate, that it's still being carried out here, because both of these phones are essentially running the same software version from Google, but as you can see, with different implementations of the home screens and the menus. You can also see that when multitasking, this is still the cascading one, which I actually still like the most, as it's really nice to use with one hand, and this is a lot less overview of the apps that you have open. And of course, this also enables to set the Xperia with the Google Pill interface. If we just bring in the OnePlus 7, which is actually a phone that's even more of stockish Android as the Xperia 10. We just bring down the brightness a bit. Also gorgeous screen, in-screen fingerprints scanner, but here it's not possible at all to make an own assortment of how you want to have your apps laid out, which is something that really impacts to me the usability of the device, and which is part of the thing that you can do with Android. So that's just a real brief comparison there with a stock Android device. So like I said, the main feature of this device is that gorgeous screen and just brilliant resolution, which is simply just fantastic. So if we just check out a 4K video, let's see, a 4K HDR video maybe, yeah. Maybe not a trailer to get copyrighted, to just, oh yes. You can just see the incredible sharpness and vivid capabilities of this display. It's just incredible. Viewing angles are also top notch. I think it's a little bright. Display also gets incredibly bright. It just keeps overpowering the camera. With its brightness. It's just incredible. And also the sound from two speakers is also very, very, very nice. So you can also see here we have the dynamic vibration that we can do. Can't really show you guys that because it's more of a feeling, but I can say it's pretty intense. Still, the screen is a little too bright. You can just see the incredible detail that this is able to display. Actually, I can't even get that properly on film, which is pretty impressive by itself, as this is really 4K footage, as you can see here. It's 2160, 60 frames per second HDR. And it just blows away my camera. So that is just incredible, and one of the main features as to why you would want to get this device. We'll discuss the camera in another video in detail, and also I want to get into gaming and some other quirks and features of the device. So for the follow-up video, please let me know in the comments what you would like to see me cover for the Xperia XZ2 Premium, and I'll see you guys in the next video.